Hey there, welcome to SharkCast Pod, a podcast dedicated to the greatest sporting club in the history of the world, the mighty Cronulla Sharks. This show, as always, is brought to you by Dyson Logistics, the Royal Motor Yacht Club in Port Hacking, and Jason Hawes at Crips and Crips Real Estate. On the other end of the line is podcasting legend Terry Mortimer, big Sharks fan, huge Sharks fan. Terry, is it fair to say this is our biggest game since 2016?
Oh, it certainly feels like it, Sam. I know last year we had the prelim against Penrith, but I think everyone knew that we were walking into a game where no one really gave us a chance. I think Penrith were like $1.30 into that game, and we were close to $4. So, yeah, I think this is as very real of a chance as we have had in a while, and it's huge. I just, all I can say is, wow, it's huge. Like to be here, to be chatting about our club and the way that we're playing at the moment, and it's mad.
How much of a surprise factor is it for you that we're right here right now?
Look, the way that we've played in the last 10 weeks, it's not much of a surprise factor, but you know, it's the dip in the middle of the season. It's the unable to, close out the games that we should have won. It was the shocking loss to the Dragons, right? So if someone had said to me, you're going to lose to the Roosters, I fully expect it because they were riding high. But this is the one season that I feel under Craig Fitzgibbon where we can actually say that we've taken a lot of lessons out of some losses that we've had, and even some wins there where the performances weren't good enough to say, yeah, we deserve to be here.
Yeah, I mean, they keep going back to the Brisbane loss and the Fitzgibbon violent treatment, then the blow up, so to speak. It wasn't really a blow up, more of an honesty session, as they say. I mean, it makes sense. That's where it is, like, because we had a number of disappointing results. And then we're winning by 20 or whatever it is up there, lose it. And there were some harsh realities, I believe, dealt in that room. And since then, the coach has not put a foot wrong, like with particularly the bench. Like the bench is now the best in the NRL. And I just wonder if all the roads over the last 4 years have led to this path. And this is where we're peaking. And it's like, well, we're supposed to be here. Obviously not a plan, just how it eventuates. But just, I really like that progression in his coaching in particular.
Yeah, and I think the last time you and I were on a podcast with each other, we were saying that we were frustrated with the bench. Like, we weren't frustrated with Daniel Atkinson, the player, because we've seen when he came in against the Bulldogs, he was incredible. We were frustrated with Daniel Atkinson, the role, right? And for Dan Atkinson to have played 15 games off the bench and the most minutes that he played was 13 off the bench, it's like he barely played 1.5 real games of rugby league, and then he plays a full game against the Dogs, and he was awesome. But the bench that he's got now, the 4 forwards, we saw that when we went to Melbourne last year without Trindle, without Hines. We went with 4 forwards. We kicked their door in. We've done it against the Roosters. We went up to Gosford and tried to play expansive football against the Roosters, and it didn't work. So the next time we played them, we just kicked their front door in. We did it against the Dolphins. We didn't do it against the Dragons, which was very surprising because it was wet weather football. Every time that we seem to just go up the guts, teams can't go with us. And I really do believe, like, we're talking about Fitzgibbon's coaching. Most recently, he outcoached Cameron Ciraldo in the last game of the year. He outcoached Trent Robinson, and he outcoached Ricky Stewart. So, the test of time is going to be, can he outcoach Craig Bellamy, and then can he outcoach one of Ivan Cleary or Madge Maguire? And the way that he's going, and it was frustrating during the year when we had these losses because he's like, we're taking a lot of lessons. And you're like, yeah, but when are you putting it into practice? He's putting it into practice now. You can't be happier.
Yeah, super intriguing. I'd love to have a documentary on his year because I know personally how hard he grinds, and it's harder than a lot of people imagine. And he really takes the losses. He loves the wins. He takes the losses. He does not like losing. He is the guy that we grew up watching as a player. That's him now as a coach. Like, there's no difference. Like, he's matured, whatever. he's the same guy. He hates losing. So it's been awesome to see. And I mean, the team needs every ounce of credit. Like as a group, they've come together. I love the fact now, Terry, that Will Kennedy can drop a bomb and we don't concede because we're all so shattered by someone dropping a bomb. Like, I love all that stuff. You know, Ronaldo will give away a penalty on our line. We don't concede, you know. Doesn't mean we won't, but we just haven't been. And there's a new resilience. And let me ask you about what I've been asking everyone about, the media stuff, as in players' reactions. Were you totally cool with the players speaking out and going, you know, Ronaldo and Nico in particular, with what they said? Were you completely at ease with that?
Yeah, I think in years gone by when Nico Hines has gone to the media, it's kind of been a point in the season where you just want to shield that outside noise. But I think now the way that Nico's playing, he can definitely go to the media and say, well, we demand a little bit of respect. And you guys are writing me off and you're saying I can't perform in a big game. He was good against the Roosters. He was outstanding against the Raiders. You're never going to curb Ronaldo Mulatalo. Like, that guy talks as much on the field, off the field, whatever. But I think the interesting part for me today, logging on to Twitter, was to see that there's lots of stories come out from Fox that haven't been there for the last, couple of months. And they're saying, oh, who have Cronulla beaten? Blake Brayley's going to push, Harry Grant for an Australian jersey. We've kind of gone under that radar in the last couple of months. No one was writing anything about us. It was all Canberra. It was all the Bulldogs. It was Penrith's run in. It was the Roosters and how good they were. It was, can the Dolphins finally get over that hump? Now all of a sudden everyone's looking around and going, well, here's little old Cronulla, and they're matching it with the big boys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of going to the media, I think we deserve it now. And I think it's the right time to do it. Whereas, doing it in round 17 after an ordinary Origin performance is not the time to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Good point. I do love this part of the season where you're like our team, a person's team is the only one of four left. And you put on Fox Sports or you put on whatever channel you watch. And there's always a story about your team, and it's going to be kind of positive because you haven't done anything wrong. And it keeps the interest alive. Like, if we were knocked out last week, we'd just be in our shells, have it on in the background. I love that feeling that you've got another week to live, if not two, hopefully. Now, am I correct in saying you were down at Canberra?
I was, yeah. We, my daughter had a big dancing competition Saturday morning, and that finished at 1:30. We were lucky that it finished quite early. And then we came home, sort of had something to eat. She stayed behind, and we took off and went down there. And it was, it was a nerve-wracking drive. I had just finished watching the Harvey Norman women's and the flag game, and then as we got into the car, the NRLW was starting. So that sort of gave me something to do on the way down there. But I'll say to you that 2 hour and 45-minute drive, man, I was sweating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was nervous.
Yeah, we all were. Tell us about your experience there. The vibe looked unbelievable.
Well, I was saying to Dan, and I'm not sure if it was last year or the year before, but Dan and I did the trip down on a Thursday night where Corey Horsburgh pumped Royce Hunt and he scored the 2 tries. I think it was 2023. Yeah. And Dan and I did that trip down there with Matt, and the atmosphere going into that game was like, Canberra just thought they were turning up and they were going to beat us, right? They just thought they were turning up. They were giving it the big one, right? When we parked and walked in, we were surrounded by a lot of Canberra fans, and it was really quiet. Like, that walk in from the Canberra car park at times can be quite intimidating because you're parking in a big open field, and you've got to walk sort of around the university, and you come up and there's the stairs, and it's a beautiful stadium. But Canberra away is my favorite trip because I love their stadium. I'd love to pick that up and drop it on, at Shark Park. But it just felt different. It honestly felt like Canberra thought, well, what have we got to do? This Sharks team's peaking. We've had the 95-minute performance. Their fans didn't, they weren't like as loud and as boisterous. We got there about 20 minutes before kickoff, and it was very quiet. And then, the horn comes out and the Viking clap, and I've got to say 28,000 people there doing the Viking clap was pretty cool. My father-in-law, who had no skin in the game, he's a Dragons fan, he got up and started doing the Viking clap just to get a part of it. I refused to. I sat down.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, like even then when the game kicked off, normally that crowd is, really feral and really behind, and feral in a good way.
Yeah.
Behind that, it was very quiet. And I've watched the replay now 3 times, and even for the opening 30 minutes, all you can hear is the Sharks fans just having a party in the bays.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be impossible to get over that week before.
Yes.
As a fan, let alone as the players, which we saw what happened out there. But
and does that not remind you of our 2022 season where we
really
were one
really
play away, one tackle away from beating the North Queensland Cowboys and going to a prelim? They score right on full time and then kick a field goal to knock us out. Like, it felt exactly the same. And the next week, there was no way we were getting up against South Sydney. And so, like, for the Raiders, yeah, it felt exactly the same.
Yeah. I mean, even going back to 2016, Cowboys won in extra time to face us. But
yes,
there must be some real truths in the fact that if you're playing extra minutes to a degree, it must really weigh on you, because the next week it's a elimination final. There's something in that, I think, and I think we all had that feeling the week before, Terry, when they went toe to toe with Brisbane, and we're just watching. Where are we going? We're going to Canberra. Went back and forth, and I just sort of thought to myself, there's no losing situation here for us. I have a preference for Canberra, but it's not going to matter because Brisbane would have been. Look, they might have handled it a little bit better. They got a bit more strike power, but they would have been in a very similar boat, So,
I think, and it's like it's the tale of 2 scenarios that Canberra face. Like, if they had turned up in week 1 and Brisbane had just rocked up and flogged them, and they hadn't had to put their bodies through that grueling process, they've probably got a little bit more in the tank, and they're probably a bit embarrassed. And the fact that they thought they had won the game twice. The fact that the full-time siren actually went with them winning, and then a try was awarded only to get taken off of them. There was, like, even still towards the end of the game, the body language was like, from the Raiders, it dropped. And especially, like, I don't know if you were at the game, but
I was not. No.
We were sat right where Billy Burns scored.
Right.
Well, more in. Sorry, we were sat right where Teague Wilton scored, but we were next to where Billy Burns scored. And KO Weeks, comes across, and Billy Burns steps in, and Hudson Young gets up and gives KO Weeks a mouthful, and KO Weeks just fires back and, like, points at Hudson Young for missing the tackle. So they started getting into each other. Heads started dropping. Like, you get when Billy Burns went over, I didn't think we were getting beat.
No, and that's a really good point, Terry, because you flip it to our team and there's no finger pointing. Like, I think during the year that if we look hard enough, there probably was a couple of raised eyebrows, a couple of what are you doing? Not to say it hasn't happened in the past month, but it's the attitude which is both being told externally and also internally that we know is that they're all in it together. Like, if someone makes a mistake, we got to fix that up. We got to stand by our mate, all that kind of stuff. There's definitely been no pointing and gesturing to our knowledge. And that just goes to show you how far we've come.
Yeah.
And not to say that's not understandable in the Canberra case. Like, they must have been so frustrated, but it's just a good example of where we're at as a team. Like, I can tell you that yesterday they were out as a team in a cafe, smashing coffees as a whole squad. And it wasn't some sort of, organized bonding session. It was just like, we're going to do this before we go to training. Let's all go. And it's just where they are. They're just all in it together. That's why the traveling isn't that much of an issue. And I do want to move on to the game this week, though, because it's the closer it gets, the more apprehensive I am about the Storm. I think we're going to play to win. I believe we can win, but I don't want people to think it's going to be easy, because if you think it's going to be easy, you're in for a rude shock. Historically, we've played 4 games against them in finals. We've won 1, which we know about. And overall, the record is not great. Overall, the record at Amy Park is horrendous. There's a thought that, we can knock them off down there. No. We did it with Dan Atkinson the other year, but our record there is horrendous. Now, to be fair, most teams' records down there are horrendous. It's in the past. I'm not basing my apprehension on those records because it's in the past. Can't do anything about it. I do think, though, we're in for a real fight, and I think it's going to be a bit of a classic, actually. Hopefully we get out on the good side. But we're a few hours away from teams being announced. What do you think the plan is? Should Hughes play? Is he a direct target?
Oh, yeah. Like, if Jerome Hughes hasn't made 25 tackles by halftime, the game plan's all wrong. Wherever, and if they want to do the whole, like, Cooper Cronk trying to hide him, like in the 2018 grand final, that's fine, because there's going to be a gap somewhere. So I still think that the game plan has to be up the middle, but it's got to be like 3 up the middle, one run at Jerome Hughes every set. If he's going to play with a broken arm, a busted shoulder, and whatever other injuries had this year, and he finishes 80 minutes of football only making 10 tackles, either they've hidden him really well or we haven't gone at him. I think he defends on the side of Billy Burns, and Billy Burns has just been in incredible form. So, I want Burns to have a career high in runs, and I want Jerome Hughes to have a career high in tackles.
Is there a preference to who plays, Hughes or Pezzett, or does it even itself out given the circumstances?
Look, Jonah Pezzett is a fantastic talent and has been for a long time. He's been on the radar of everyone. I can't believe Newcastle just let him walk to Melbourne for free, and then they tried to get him back and he wouldn't go. And he seems to be like a really switched on kid. A couple of teams in bad positions have tried to get him recently, and he's re-signed with Melbourne on lesser deals. So he's doing his apprenticeship, and it's showing. Like week 1 of the finals, he was very good. Obviously, I'd rather him play than Jerome Hughes, because you're talking about a guy who's played under 10 games in a prelim final. And do you remember when we turned up against Melbourne in 2008 with Blake Green, who had played 9 games? And we got absolutely obliterated. They didn't even have Cameron Smith, and we still got done because we didn't have that experience of Brett Seymour or Greg Bird or anyone like that. We just basically relied on Paul Gallen, and that was it. But as I said, if Jerome Hughes is playing, I don't believe he's 100% fit. I think that they're just trying to shoehorn him into the team to get into the grand final. Could be at the detriment of his health, but let's just find out. If he is named and he does play, Billy Burns, get your running boots on, mate. You'll be running at Jerome Hughes all night.
Yeah, for me, it's a flip of the coin what I prefer, because as you just said, like Pezzett is unbelievable, but he's also super young and inexperienced. And the other fella is unbelievable, but he's literally injured severely his shoulder and then I believe wrist on the same arm.
Yeah.
So, and I think he's a hell of a player. Like I think he's a great player, but I don't know how you can be good on one wing. I mean, we saw Cooper Cronk do it, but Cooper Cronk is one of the greatest players of all time, and also it was one of the best game plans of all time.
Yeah, and I think if this was a grand final, you risk it. But
yes,
this is a prelim at home, so I don't think there's as much risk there, because even still, if they name Jonah Pezzett, they'd probably still go into this game pretty confident that they can beat us.
Sure.
The worst thing that could happen to them is they send in a 50% Jerome Hughes and Billy Burns does run at him and he re-breaks that arm. They get through, and then they've got to send the kid into a grand final on his 9th game. Now, obviously, they'd probably start Tyrone Wishart and ease him in later, but that's still, do you really want to be doing that against that Brisbane or Penrith juggernaut? I don't think so.
Yeah. Where do you think we win it, aside from what we just talked about? Where do you think in the forwards?
Yeah. So, I like Stefano. I think Stefano is a very, very good player. I like Josh King. I think Josh King is a very, very good player. Neither of them can lace the boots of Adam Fanua Blake. like Adam Fanua-Blake by himself is better than both of them. You add in a Toby Rudolph, who his first stint against Canberra was pretty ordinary, gave away a couple of penalties and a drop ball, but his second stint was brutal. His game against the Roosters was unbelievable. His game against the Bulldogs was unbelievable. So I believe we've got the advantage there. I think they've got an advantage in Eli Katoa, but Teague Wilton has shown that he is up there with the best of the back rowers. And the last time that we played them, Teague didn't play, and they just bombed the short side out of us, and Eli Katoa had a field day, whereas Teague's pretty good under the high ball. He's pretty good at getting his hands to the ball as well. I believe our forwards, like Jesse Colquhoun, is in great form. Yeah. I believe our bench, as you said, is the best bench in the competition. I stand by that. Like, if the game is at 6-6 and we bring our bench on compared to theirs, I fully expect us to get the upper hand. We need to tell Braden Hamlin-Uele every single week that he's free to go, but just never grant him that release. Because the minute we've told him that, he has turned into a hell of a player. I'm a little bit concerned about the Oregon Kaufusi calf, because that's what ruled him out of the game, and that's what ruled him out of the weeks leading up to the finals as well. So, I'm pretty big on Oregon Kaufusi for his defence, not so much him with the ball, but I still believe our pack. And Britton Nickera off the bench is a cheat code. We've conceded 0 points every time we bring Britton Nickera into the game. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, so against the Roosters, it was 12-10 when Nickera came in. We win the game 20-10. And against the Raiders, it was 12-all, and we win the game 32-12. So we haven't conceded a point when Britt comes on in the second half.
It's been quite a surprise packet. And I chatted to him yesterday. People can go listen to the feed on the podcast.
I definitely will.
Yeah, and so I addressed it straight away. And I kind of, it's one of those things where you start backtracking in your head, but you can't backtrack what you're saying. And I was almost saying, like, what's it like? This guy's come in and replaced you. And he took it really, really good. And he said the standard stuff like, I'll do whatever's necessary for the team. But then he said something like, and please go listen to it, but he said something like, I'm used to playing for 80 minutes. The past few weeks I've played for 20 to 30, and I need to play like that is the 80 minutes. So my fear was, Terry, that he would come on and just kind of amble around a little bit. But obviously much smarter people have gotten to him and said, no, you need to do a hit up every set, and you need to make 15 meters and rip in. And it's worked. It's really worked. I couldn't care less about what's happening next year with the forwards. It's all about this week, this one game, and you don't change a winning team, and they've been winning really well. And you have the option of mixing it up if you need to during the game. But he's been fantastic. On Oregon Kaufusi, I will say this. He's played a lot this year under duress with different injuries. He's a tough bugger. So obviously a calf can be quite restraining, but as far as playing in pain, that won't be a problem for him. And I do love the fact that he shores up that middle. I would prefer a tall Tom Hazelton out there for obvious reasons, but he's not a bad replacement.
He's not, no. And I just want to go back onto the Brit thing. Yes. Billy Burns, who just signed 1-year deals with us, has kept out an international back row. Like, Britton Nickera will be a starting edge back rower for New Zealand in their test matches. And Billy Burns is keeping him out, not on name, but on performance. Yeah. And some of the things that we've been critical with Fitz about, or definitely I've been critical with Fitz about, is guys who are playing well then lose their spot. I still don't believe Sam Stonestreet should have lost his spot to Sione Katoa. And I haven't seen a game from Sione Katoa this year that has said to me he's better than Sam Stonestreet at the moment. He's getting older, whatever. But the fact that Fitz has made the call that minimum wage Billy Burns is going to start over international back rower Britton Nickera, and it's going to work, is amazing. I'm going to ask you a question now, Sam. We beat Melbourne, down in Melbourne, and everyone's fit. Who misses out on the bench between Tom Hamlin-Uele and Oregon Kaufusi?
That's a BS question.
That is a BS question, isn't it?
I don't really have an answer right now. And off the top of my head, I don't even know where to go.
No.
It comes down to Hamlin-Uele, right? And what you were talking about. I'm happy for him to take Oregon's spot, but he's got to be 8 out of 10. Anything less, then it's a waste of Oregon Kaufusi.
Yep.
I believe in Hamlin Welly. I think he can do it. I think since he came back, he's found a new headspace.
Mm-hmm.
Every game's been great.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're going to take someone's grand final spot, then you better bust some chops out there. So, but it's tough because Oregon is so safe, especially in the middle, defensively, and defense will win you grand finals.
Yeah, and like Hamlin Welly's impacts on his runs are really good, but I still have that, like what people had with Jack Williams, the fears that he's going to drop the ball or it's going to be a bad play of the ball, but
he has tidied that up in the past month, which has been great. But yes, I understand that fear. I understand it. Yeah, it's a tough one. What would you do?
Yeah. Look, I honestly believe that if we go down to Melbourne and win, that you can't change that, and Tom Hazelton would have to be our 18th man.
Whoa, heavy.
I don't think that you could. I don't think that as a coach you could look a player in the eyes and say, "Thank you for your services. Thank you for putting your body on the line against Melbourne." But now you're going to have to sit on the sideline and watch. I'd be saying to Tom, "You've had an injury-interrupted season. You missed week 1. Unfortunately, week 2 didn't go the way that we planned it. Come back stronger in 2026."
I will say, and Fitzy's sort of talked about it in his press conferences, Fitzy is 100% about who's fittest. And you can see that with the Billy Burns and the Nick Kura thing, although that has been influenced by form as well.
Yep.
But the fallback there was he was legitimately injured when he was out, Nick Kura.
And then he got suspended.
Yes. So therefore, the fitter player got to play. So in that case, if there's a bit of caution about Tall Tom, then he might lean on that philosophy. But that's
it would come down to who's fitter between Oregon Kaufusi and Tom Hazelton. So. And if Oregon Kaufusi got through Melbourne unscathed and we win, I don't think you'd be able to look him in the eyes and be like, "Thank you for throwing your body in front of Stefano. Thank you for beating up Josh King. Yeah. Thank you for, grabbing Harry Grant by the neck and stopping a scoot. However, you're going to have to watch from the sidelines." It's an easier chat to have it with Tom to say, "These 17 guys did it. You're the next man up."
The other thing is Oregon has played in a grand final. Not many of our guys have.
Correct. Yes, that is very, very true. I think like going into this final series, we had the least amount of grand final experience, and we also were the only team with no rep players, like no Origin players in the entire final series.
Yeah.
So that was pretty nuts.
Our little club, Terry, is really pushing hard, as you know.
Yeah.
Like it's incredible. Like all the grades. And okay, we lost Flegg. Shouldn't have lost Flegg. They got within a whisker. The women's Harvey Normans came back from the dead.
Yep.
The NRLW, tough task, but it's there to take. Like they're flying as a club, and people go on about it. They don't have money. Well, they don't have money. They've got they're asset rich, but they're not football rich. And it's the people you hire, the staff, and obviously the players that you recruit. So they are flying. I know it doesn't feel like that sometimes.
Yeah.
But big picture, very successful club.
Yeah. And it's like to see, we're usually around the bottom of memberships. We're usually the bottom of sponsorship revenue. We're definitely down the bottom of game day revenue. We don't have a leagues club. We run our staff off an oily rag. Like Jess Chicha does so much work off the field, and then you see her on the field doing the game day stuff. People have dual roles and sometimes triple roles at our club.
Absolutely.
And Jardy and Ormsby is another one who worked at the club for so long, who had 3, 4, 5 hats on. And that's that was in 2011. In 2025, we've still got people doing the same thing, and it's incredible to say that. Dan quizzed me on this the other day, and I got it right, that the only club that didn't make the final, like the only rep team of ours that didn't make the finals this year, was our Harold Matt's team, and we were running first until Jamie Curran got injured, who was the best player in that competition. So it's incredible how we're going at the moment, the position we're in, the depth that we've got. And even still, someone said to me, "Oh, like, do you think, unlucky for the girls, they're on a hiding to nothing?" Man, don't go saying that to them. They're going to have it in the belief that they deserve to be there against the Roosters.
Yeah. I mean, Terry, I've been working with them closely this year and covering them. And I'm telling you, like, they are one of the most locked in teams I've ever seen, whether it be in person or following for all the years I've been following sport. Like, it is next level. You think the men's are locked in, the women's, that is one big group. And it's from age 18 to 29, 30, all the most different demographics you can think of. And they are all in. The coach is awesome. I knew a bit about Tony Herman before and what he'd done, but I'd never chatted to him, never really studied him. He's a really good coach. He's a bit different to other coaches, I'll say that. But yeah, I understand that the Roosters are favorites and they should be, of course. But I am not going to watch that game and think we're no chance, just based on all of what I said, but also the talent, like the talent they have, and especially on their day, the talent, like, phenomenal. And there's rumors, we'll find out in a few hours, there's rumors that Quincy Dodd and who's our amazing tackle busting center I'm forgetting about?
Anissa Biddle.
There's rumors they're going to be named in some way on the squad. So if they play,
that's a big one for us. There was the I can't remember her name, but she tore her ACL in round one. She was going to have like a massive. She's a big forward for us, and obviously we're not going to have Caitlin Johnson Green. But if you can throw Quincy Dodd though, like she's like absolutely one of my favorites. But the way that Georgia Hanaway has gone into that 9 and really made her own.
So you talk about choices.
Yeah,
that was a season changing, saving decision, because I was like, oh, okay, Georgia's going to play hooker. That's a bit weird. She's 5'8", and from the moment she ran on, she was just dominating. So that's a very intriguing thing that we're going to have. But again, I guess you would have Quincy off the bench maybe to allow her to ease into the game. And but yeah, I do think that we're in it. Like, we're in it. It's going to be tough because just the Roosters. But then we should have won the grand final last year against the same team. So
exactly right. But that's going to be that's going to be an exciting one for sure. Yeah. I can't wait for that.
It's a big weekend, Terry. Like, it's just
it is
to be in these two prelims. Plus, is the Harvey Normans, is that a grand final this weekend?
That is. It's the grand final. We take on Newcastle. And that's going to be the Newcastle beat us like 28 points to 14 a couple of weeks ago. So that's going to be a bit of a tough game for us. But look, no doubt they'll fire up. We've got some pretty good players in there who are knocking on the door to get a call up into the NRLW squad. So, but yeah, that's on Saturday. The big game's on Friday as well. So it's just a massive weekend for us.
It is. Tell us about Fins Up and tell us about Rugby League Outlaws before we let you get back to your other work.
We've got a big week of Fins Up. Dan and I have decided that we're probably going to do 2, maybe 3 episodes this week because we feel that the rundown of the Raiders game needs to be its own podcast. Normally we put a review and a preview in one podcast, but I think we just need to do a full game review. And then I don't know if Dan's going to jump on or whether I'm going to go solo, but I have been putting a little something together around Craig Fitzgibbon. A lot of our fans in the middle of the year started a Fits Out hashtag on Twitter.
Really?
A lot of people wanted him sacked. I went back through the tweets over the weekend and just sort of asked the same question. Those tweets were deleted, but there's a lot of negativity. If I was to ask you, since Fitz has been at the club from 2022 to 2025, obviously we know Penrith's won every single year, so you can't ask about premierships. But if I was to give you and say to you, predict the ladder, Penrith's obviously first. Where do you think Cronulla are on that ladder over the 4 seasons?
Oh, they're top 4.
Yeah,
they're top 4. I couldn't tell you, but yeah,
they're third.
Yeah.
They're third, and you know we're third by a long, like by a bit compared to Melbourne and Penrith, but in terms of our attack, in terms of our defence, everything's a lot closer. So for everyone who turns around and goes, "Oh, is Fitz the guy to take us to the next level?" Well, we don't know because Penrith is that level, and we don't know what that drop off from Penrith looks like.
Yeah, the attack this year, season average, it's like third or fourth highest in club history, and he has like two of the other three highest ones. I think the highest might be 0-2. Yeah. The rest in the sort of top 3 or 4 is under Fitzgibbon. Defensively, we have never finished a season averaging more than 20 points a game under him. Like, come on. Why are people writing this stuff? The other thing is, Terry, we've never lost more than 3 in a row under him. 3 in a row. Some teams lose like 9 in a row.
Yeah, and people are saying like, "Oh, Fitz is supposed to be this defensive coach. Like, where's this defense?" You know what? The number 1 defensive team since he's been in is Penrith. Number 2 is Melbourne. Number 3 is Cronulla. Like, what do you want from him?
It's a tough job.
And you're talking about Melbourne, who are like owned by the game. They have unlimited resources. They have an all-time great coach. They have developed 5 immortals over the time. You're then talking about Penrith, who are on this historical run. Like, and then you have a look at Cronulla, tiny little Cronulla doing this.
It's weird. It's weird, man, because I get the same correspondence you do, and I always read it out and I say my opinion, and I think people just think I'm this homer dude, and it's like, well, I'm a part homer dude, but I also base a lot of what I do on stats and history, and I read that out, and people are still like, but it's no, this guy is a really, really great coach, and I don't even think he's hit his powers. I think he had a learning curve like anyone. Yeah. And I think this year I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the start of the growth. And I'm telling, like, I'm not mates with him or anything, but I do have, I would say, regular contact with him. And I'm telling you, this guy works harder than I've ever seen anyone work in probably any role I've come across. Like, he's completely all in. There is no BS. I understand people want more from him at press conferences. I understand they don't want Dan Atkinson on the bench. I get all that. The big thing I always come back to, Terry, is who in God's name is going to replace him and do a better job?
So that's the question I've asked. I've asked, like, if you don't want Craig Fitzgibbon as the coach, who have you got? And it's like someone turns around and goes, or someone who knows how to run an interchange bench. That's not a coach. That's an assistant coach, like someone who knows how to run an interchange bench. Come on, like this guy, you know, and people were bagging him when we copped 40 points, you know, 2 or 3 weeks in a row last year, saying, he's the defensive coach. He's not a defensive coach anymore. He is the coach. He's got to run the attack. He's got to run the defense. He's got to run the rehab. He's got to run the injuries, suspensions, recruitment. Like, that's his whole entire hands-on job. Now, I was critical of him during the year. Don't get me wrong. I'm not coming out of this like I'm 100% on Fitz, because I will read out some things that I had some gripes with, but 99% of those things he has changed. And as I said, he's outcoached Cameron Ciraldo, who had the Bulldogs first at one point in time. He outcoached Trent Robinson, who is a multi-time premiership winner. And on the weekend, he outcoached Ricky Stewart, who is probably going to win Coach of the Year at the Dally M's this year.
Well, my mate Brooksy rang into the after show, and he was like, they have to give the Coach of the Year to Fitzy, and he was dead serious. And I had never thought of that. And it was like, I
don't think you can, because Coach of the Year is from round 1 to round 27, and we dropped. He did concede that, and he said they should change the rules, which I also have no problem with. But point is, no one even I had never thought, well, he's the Coach of the Year. But you know what? No,
I think wins the premiership, he definitely is.
Yeah, if he wins the premiership, who cares? But if you're going on rounds 1 to 27, it's Ricky Stewart, and it's not close.
Sure.
But if you're going on the finals at the moment, from the first 2 weeks of the finals, it's Craig Fitzgibbon, and it's not close, because Fitzgibbon has had the tougher challenges in the first 2 weeks as opposed to any other coach. So, and I mean, like, take Ivan Cleary. I know they had to go over to New Zealand, but that's a completely injury-riddled New Zealand team, and then he came up against a very out-of-sorts Bulldogs team, whereas we had to beat an informed Roosters team and then go down to Canberra and take on the minor premiers. So I'd say Fitz has coached a hell of a final series.
And I think people don't consider things until it's sort of slammed in their face. The fact that his top 5 back 5 players only played together for the first time the other week. Now, okay, Terry wants Stone Street, someone else wants Michael Gabriel. I get it all that, but Fitzy's top 5, his guys, they only just played together. So there are things like that, challenges that the coaching staff goes through, and like it's a hell of a job that they have to do. They love doing it, but I've had off-air conversations with the coach, very brief ones, about the pressures and about fan reactions and that kind of stuff. And you'd be shocked at some of the things people will say. Well, sorry, not to his face, definitely, but the correspondence he gets, like all that stuff, and he's just there going, "Are these people serious? Like what?" So tough job. He's doing great, but yeah, I've never once, albeit being a very big admirer of his, never once thought he's not the guy. Even like since day one to now, I haven't thought that, and it doesn't mean I won't think it at some point. But I just, it's a long race, man. Like I look at him as John Lang, to be honest. Yeah, and then going one step further with us. That's how I look at him.
I'm always of the opinion that you're in anything that you do, whether you're like playing a sport, in your work, in your marriage, whatever, you should always try and get better, and you should always try and do things better, right? And 110%, if someone could come to me and say that this guy's a better coach than Craig Fitzgibbon, okay. Sure. But at the moment, as I said, in the last 4 years, the only coaches that have finished above him are Ivan Cleary and Craig Bellamy. And we ain't getting either of them. So we've got the next best. There is one more thing that I want to ask you. Well, there's two parts to this question. Yes. One, the captaincy in form of Blake Brayley, and two, is there any real estate left on Blake Brayley Island? Because I'm a believer now.
We're doing things to make the island bigger, so you're very welcome. Yes. That's number 2. Everyone's welcome. The captaincy, he's killing it. I had no reason to think he wouldn't, but then I wasn't just thinking. I didn't sit there and think this is going to change things. I didn't think that. It just didn't factor in for me. Like, captaincy is an important job, not talking it down. I think Cam McInnes is a great captain. When he was gone for the year, I wasn't like, oh, the season's over. From both a playing point and a captaincy point, I had an interest in the subject. I think you had Teague Wilton. I think you had, help me out here. Who else could you have? Maybe
my initial thoughts were he was going to play it safe and go back to Nicho Hynes, as Nicho Hynes had captained in the past. I didn't want that, though, because we've seen that when there's too much pressure and there's too much head noise, like Nicho's at his best when he just has to worry about being Nicho Hynes. So my suggestions that I had, and I put a poll up, were Blake Brayley, Teague Wilton, Britton Nickera, Adam Fanua-Blake. Sure. And then I quickly ruled out Adam Fanua-Blake because, like Nicho Hynes, I just want Adam Fanua-Blake to concentrate and go out there and beat Adam Fanua-Blake. He is a leader in his own right. We don't need a captaincy next to him. At the time, then Britton Nickera went and got himself suspended. So it came down to Teague Wilton and Blake Brayley, 2 guys who are local juniors, 2 guys who are going to be at the club long term. I don't think there was a right or wrong answer either way that he went. Yeah, I think if you went Teague Wilton, you're just going down the same path as when we had Wade Graham on the left edge second row. But it's unbelievable to see the way that Blake Brayley has stepped into that captaincy, the way that he interacts with the referee, and also Corey Horsburgh's try. Like, you go back and watch the replay. He knows himself that he could have got underneath that ball. He was just stood there. And straight away when the try was given, everyone was sort of looking around themselves. And he went and grabbed everyone by the collar, and they were in a huddle before Jamal Fogarty had even walked back to the 10-metre line. And he was in the middle of it, and he was just laying down the law. And then down the other end in the second half, when they scored the try, you could see straight away the try, they went in, Canberra was celebrating. And whilst Canberra was celebrating, we were in a huddle in the try line, and he was laying down the law on everyone. And it was his pass that gave them the ball back. So that he would have been critical on himself. So I think captaincy in Blake Brayley is perfect.
Oh, I'm not changing it. He's captain for the next 10 years. That's your answer. But another spoiler for the interviews, and please go listen to them. I had a short chat with Blake, longer chats with the other guys. And I said to him straight up, he's our captain, like just straight faced, he's our captain, Blake Brayley. And he kind of went, oh, that's kind of weird to hear that. I'm still getting used to it. And I was like, mate, it's your job.
Yeah.
We talked about the huddle during the Viking clap when they ran out. And I said to each guy, I think I spoke to 5 guys, I said, look, I wasn't at the game. I noticed on the TV, you guys in a huddle. And I knew from that moment we were going to be okay, because past teams would have all stood there individually in their positions, shaking in their boots, going, holy crap, what's this thing going on? They were just in a huddle. They were looking at each other, connected. And that was an amazing sign. He said it was Nico Hines' idea, the coach's idea, and Blake kind of made it happen. And that goes further to what you're talking about with the huddles. It's whether you think it's hokey pokey, whatever, it's working. Like it's all working. Like I remember when the Warriors were the first ones to do it, and you're like, it's all very well having your breathing exercises, but you got to tackle. Like, come on, like, no, it's something that's part of the game now, and we're doing it really well. And Blake Brayley, like, he's the nicest, legitimately the nicest person you will ever meet, right? Yet he goes out there, he makes 55 tackles against guys who are twice his size. He maintains his good looks. That's not that important. And the way he talks to those referees, it is in this very calm but direct and serious way. And it's already got the respect, I think, of the whole refereeing system. We're at I think it was the Roosters game at Shark Park. Something happened, and he walked over to talk to the touchy in a really calm, unintimidating kind of way, and they just had a chat. I think it might have been about 10. I don't know what it was, but it was a great sign. Like he's already a great captain after like 3 or 4 weeks. It's incredible.
And he's 4-0. He's going to be 6-0 at the end of the season, Sam.
That sounds good. I look forward to him and Cam lifting the title. I really do.
Yeah, just a quick story before we go about Cam McInnes. We were driving home. It took about an hour and 10 minutes to get out of Canberra's car park because we were like right at the back. And anyway, we're driving home. My oldest daughter and her little brother came with us, and we had to drop them off at Sutton's Forest, right? So it's McDonald's on the side of the road. We got there just after midnight, and we dropped them off. We go into the servo, get a drink and something to eat for the way home. And as we're walking up, my wife points over and she goes, oh, look over there. And there was this guy standing there in a pair of shorts, a pair of thongs, and no shirt on. And I was like, oh, mate, isn't it a bit cold for that? And I turned around and walked away, and she goes, you idiot, that's Cam McInnes. And I looked back over, and there he was just putting his jumper on. And I was like, man, what are you doing?
Why didn't he have a shirt on?
I have no idea, but he was in his car by himself driving back from the game. And he had no shirt on. He got out of the car, went to the boot, and put his jumper on. So
it's interesting because that means he probably wasn't in camp with the guys, but he obviously was. He was in the sheds and everything. So
yeah, they interviewed him before the game on the field, and they asked him about his injury, and they asked him about his rehab, and they asked him about his preparation for the week. And he halted the interview and said, "I've had nothing to do with the preparation. This is all Blake."
Oh,
yeah.
He's a tremendous dude on and off the field. If he sticks around, if we re-sign him, I've got zero issues with it. Obviously, I'm not throwing the bank at the guy, but having a guy like him, it kind of falls into that Dale Finucane kind of territory in a few years. You know, it's probably not his best years, but what he brings, it's truth. Like they're not cliches. Like Cam McInnes, anyone would do anything for that guy because that's what he would do for you. He's a great community guy. Like he's all in, man.
You re-sign him, and he's your professional 18th man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought his form was fine as a player. Like I thought he was still contributing. It was really unfortunate what happened. But yeah, who knows what's happening next year? There's young bucks coming through. So
at the same time, like I know it sucks that Cam McInnes is injured and it's your captain and everything else, but at the same time, we've seen Jesse Colquhoun get a bigger role, and he's been awesome. We've seen him switch around with Sifa Talakai, and that's been mad. So, whilst you're disappointed for Cam and for the Sharks, at the same time, it's like maybe it was that injection of youth that we needed in there. I know we've got young Sam McCulloch as well. We've got Dylan Coutts. I wouldn't be upset in keeping Cam McInnes around, but eventually you're looking at the young blood that's come into the team, and I don't think it's any reason why we bit of freshen blood into the squad, and we're here in a prelim, Sam, that no one at the start of the finals, we were the eighth favourites to win the comp.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a case,
and now we're the fourth.
Maybe it's a case of he stays until Perth or PNG want to offer him a really good deal, and it's like, go on, there's your money right there. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there, but it's all about Melbourne, as you said, and we're still fourth favourites to win, and that's fine. I've got no problem with that.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at this game, and the more I look at it, the more I think to myself, like, I think we're good. I think, I put a tweet out. I think that we can beat Melbourne. I'm not saying that we're going to. I think and I believe, and I think there's belief in the club that they can go down there and cause the upset on Melbourne as well. And
there's belief.
I just want to point out a couple of things, like you're hearing about, 2022, 2023, we limped into the finals with a lot of injuries, right? And then they're talking about, like, Canberra had some injuries and they lost Ethan Strange. And then the Bulldogs have been hit with the injury bug. And then the Roosters, they were in great form, but they had injuries all year. This is the first year that we've actually gone into the finals with Cam aside, 16 of our best 17 available, if you will. And then Tommy dropping out. This is the first, like, Will Kennedy, 2022, shouldn't have played that final. Looks so injured. Now you've got confident Will Kennedy. Ronaldo has been into finals where he's looked underdone. He looks great. Toby puts his body through hell. Britton Nicker, Teague Wilton. This is the time now where we've gone into the season in the big stage and we're fresh. And now Melbourne have got injuries, and Brisbane have got injuries and suspensions, and Penrith have got injuries. Like, we're in a pretty good spot.
Absolutely. And making no mistake about it, there is no, from a club point of view, there is no, we're going down to give it a good shake. Like, we're
going down to win.
They are going down to win. And if they're not saying it, that's what their actions and the way they're going about their week is saying. And they're fresh in a weird way with the 6-day turnaround. They're still fresh. Like, I was speaking to some of them off air and they were like, no, I'm good. Let's go. Like, ready to rock. The other mob have had 2 weeks. Now there's pros and cons there. Not a lot of cons, obviously, but you're not playing week to week. They've played. I mean, some of them were rested as well in weeks prior to that. So, that maybe they're a bit underdone. I do want to just clarify, though, that it's going to be a hell of a battle and a hell of a task. We need to complete at a high percentage. If we don't complete at a high percentage, even like last week, if it's about 75, I do worry. I think you got to be in the mid 80s or more. But that's up to them. Hold the ball. It's not that hard. Hold the ball. I think the defense will speak for itself. We do have pressures with the kick to both wingers and, as you said, to Katoa. So there's, as in Eli Katoa. So there's 3 immediate targets for kicks for them, and they'll be aimed at either of our wingers, most likely Sione, although what side's Sione on? He's on the left.
He's on Xavier Coates' side.
Yeah.
There's got to be a game-day switch,
Let's not leave out Warbrick, though, and Katoa. Yeah. Now, they play together, is that right? Or on the same side?
No. Katoa is matched up against Xavier Coates.
Sorry,
Xavier Coates is the left winger.
Sorry, the other Katoa, Ronaldo. The Melbourne Katoa. Katoa and Coates are together, yeah?
No.
Right?
Melbourne Katoa is with Will Warbrick.
Okay.
On the right.
Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes, I'm getting so confused. The targets are everywhere is my point for kicking. So that's going to be a big thing. You're going to hear about it a lot leading up to the game, but it's a big thing for both wingers, for the fullback, and even for the edge players.
That's why I'm thankful we got Teague Wilton back, man, because he can, like, I'm not saying he's incredible under the high ball, but he's going to make that challenging for Eli Katoa. So. Yeah,
so it's going to be a battle. I just want people to buckle in because it's not going to be easy. If it's easy, I will be the most surprised I've ever been in my life. It's going to be a battle. I have a ticket, and I am looking at ways to get there. There's a bit going on which I won't get onto on the pod, but I am hopeful, like legitimately hopeful. So we'll wait and see. It's going to be a wait and see, unfortunately, even though we're getting closer. But it ain't over till it's over, Terry. So definitely hopeful. If not, I'll be in the hood watching it and ready to rock next week. So we'll see what happens. But a lot of fans are going down. That's the other thing. It's going to be like we'll be outnumbered. But like last week, as you said, there's ways to elevate those numbers. There's a hell of a function happening at the Pink Lemonade bar, which is close to Amy. And I believe the club will be getting involved with that as well. So it's going to be bumper promo on that. So make sure you head there before the game and then after to celebrate. But yeah, it's a good place to be, Terry. It's the only thing that could be better would be in Sydney. It's not in Sydney. What can we do? Just go down there and have some fun and bring it back.
Yeah, and I've been reliably told that the guy who smashes the drum is not going down to the game, but he has sent the drum down to Melbourne.
I think that's incorrect, my friend.
It's not?
In fact, I know it's not correct. The guy being Tim is going down.
Ah, there you go. Someone had said that he wasn't going, but the drum was going down. But if Tim's going down, that's incredible.
Yeah, Tim's going down. I did message him today and I told him that I grew up playing the drums. True story. I was a drummer until I'm still a drummer, but I gave up. I swapped drums for guitars about age 21, 22. And then he said, well, you can give me some tips because all I know is how to smash it hard. And I said, no, you're doing a great job.
Just smash it hard, man.
That's right.
You could only hear that during the game. So, yeah, it was unreal. But I'm looking forward to it. I can't make this one. I can't make it down to Melbourne this week. Unfortunately, life got in the way.
It's tough, dude. It's so tough. I'm so happy that people can do it because it's tough for a lot of people, like whether it's time, money, family, like throw in whatever you want. It's a big ask, but you know what? Like people who are able to do it, like incredible. Great effort.
Yeah, well, I'll be giving a listen to all your podcasts. We'll be dropping a few this week. We've also got Zero Tackle as well. We're talking about the prelims on the Knock On podcast. We just did a big Rugby League Outlaws show, which was 90% Sharks. So we'll probably lose a few fans on that one from the other people that watch it. But no, this is going to be a massive week for us. And fingers crossed, Sam, we're doing this again next week, talking about a grand final.
I got a feeling. Yeah. Let's stick with that.
I got a good feeling. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for your time, Terry. Appreciate it. Make sure you check out Terry and Dan's work on Fins Up, on Rugby League Outlaws, on Zero Tackle, etc. We'll talk to you real soon. Stay tuned for more SharkCast pod. Until then, up, Cronulla, and let's go.